TPU better than GPU is what everyone on Wall Street's trying to figure out right now. And I think they're coming to the conclusion that TPUs are real, but you know, some of the fears that Dylan caused inadvertently or on purpose, I don't know. They're certainly, you know, maybe overblown, and NVIDIA is going to be just fine, you know. And I think people are giving Dylan a hard time. If you don't read his stuff, I highly recommend it. Semi-analysis. I'm very loath to recommend anything other than Gödel, but I give credit where credit's due. Semi-analysis is quite good. And, you know, they know what they're talking about. Have I read Liar's Poker? Like 30 years ago, I guess. I hate that guy, Michael Lewis. He knows how to tell a story, I'll say that. Yeah, it's really complicated, the TPU GPU thing. I think one of the biggest challenges is Google selling hardware to their competitors is a bit tricky. You know, if you're Meta, do you trust Google to give you the best hardware and not gatekeep it for themselves? And Gemini, you know, do you want to lock yourself in on a platform that is fueling your competitor? What happens in a supply shortage? I think Google gets their own chips before third parties do. There are actually quite a number of good quant books now. Igor Tolchinsky wrote one, and there's many others you can pick up if you Google around. There's a popular one that's, you know, an AQR guy wrote about machine learning. There's a lot of examples out there. Yeah, exactly. Messy puppy. Think about investors do have to kind of become experts in lots of things very quickly. And when I say expert, of course, I don't mean literal expert, just relative expert. Nobody can be a literal expert in everything. I don't know. It's hard for me to see TPUs becoming a thing outside of Google. Maybe for some small companies. Yeah, I think that TPU is going to be pretty rigid. But I don't know. You know, they're going to be hard to work with, too. I mean, you need experience with them, just like any other hardware. MicroStrategy and Bitminer, it's dropping like rocks, these digital asset treasuries, man. Yeah, people don't like GCP in general, but big enterprises, it's fine. It's not easy to make your own TPU. It took Google 7 generations and 15 years to get there. So I don't assume a TPU will pop up out of nowhere that works perfectly. I don't know what GameStop is. GameStop is just kind of dog poo-poo now. Consumer only. It'd be fun to sort of hack a H100, and I think Saylor has the last laugh, right? He's just like on a yacht somewhere. Like, life is so good, bro. Orange pill, bro. You don't understand, bro. You don't understand Bitcoin. That's why you fear it. Oh yeah? Tell me about semi-off polynomials. Tell me about index calculus. What do you know? Trainium is sort of like Google's, Amazon's attempt to sort of catch up to Google. But yeah, Dylan wrote a really extensive report if you want to read it. No, Tyler, let's not ever write something like that in my chat again, please. And then, I don't know. I think you just wait and pray Bitcoin goes back up. I mean, that's the game plan for Bitcoin in general. There's nothing you can do about it, right? It's just some asset that you have to just sit and wait on. Yeah, a lot of Dunning-Kruger in general. A lot of Dunning-Kruger when you look in the mirror too. I mean, it's not easy. This whole thing is not easy, but okay, look at Glencore. See, the problem with London is most people don't trade on the exchange. Is that right? What do you guys think? So the commission rates can be a little wild. Do people trade, and there's stamp tax, right? Do people trade like CFDs mostly? Londonistan. I think a college degree would help you when you're trying to do advanced mathematical trading, yes. I do think that would help. Halion is public in London. It's funny, Halion's gonna have a bigger market cap than GSK. Update this Novo Nordisk model. Okay, that works without Cryptos is just like sometimes a little bit hard to know exactly what to do. XRP feels like it's just never going anywhere. Who is this guy?
Today, we shared our Q3 results. This quarter, we moved decisively to implement a company-wide transformation as we successfully realigned.
We don't believe you. You need more people. Yeah, insulin is also dropping due to GLP. But their insulin's actually hanging in there. Human insulin down 23%. Constant exchange rates up 11%. In krone, it was only up 5%. But I guess krone is kind of irrelevant. Has anybody here been to Denmark or is from Denmark? 8 to 11 constant exchange rate. I wonder what the 2026 outlook's going to be. Pretty brutal. Can you imagine Ozempic down year-over-year? ภิ The 𝗕𝗢𝗓 product could be good. They're kind of you know, their pipeline's starting to grow a little. It's not terrible. Mike 𝗕𝗢𝗓𝗏, we just heard from. I gotta check him out. I don't know him. I meet CEOs with the Wu-Tang Clan. The CEOs are like, who are these guys? I'm like, that's the 𝗍𝗓𝗏. 𝗍𝗓𝗏 Capital Management. Yeah, Ozempic was up 3%. Ooh. Now again, constant currency is probably a little different, but still gross. Makes me want to hurl. Ugh. Ugh, nasty. 3%. They should get that just from pricing. 3%. No wonder they fired the CEO. Hell is 3%? That's not growth. That's garbage. Disgusting. But we grew 30% every year for a decade. If your Q3 2025 revenue isn't growing, it's over. Ozempic. Okay, so it's 15% constant. Maybe I should just put that here. 𝗥𝗘𝗢𝗎𝗓𝗏𝗏𝗔𝗍𝗍. Wow, bad number there. 𝗥𝗑𝗘𝗢𝗎 was down? Ooh, that's disgusting. Hard to keep my lunch down. 𝗥𝗘𝗖𝗢𝗏 was very strong, but 𝗥𝗘𝗖𝗢𝗏 is starting to slow down too. That was 18% constant currency. Wow. It's actually fine. I mean, 11% growth is still pretty good. I guess the problem is the guidance for next quarter implies like another pretty steep slowdown. But I want to look at the Mounjaro numbers too, just to see how the share is shifting. Obviously, Mounjaro is doing great. From Eli Lilly. Lilly hit $1 trillion market cap. For any of you haters, hate on that. Open our Lilly model. I'm sure every one of you has the same setup where you go from one model to the other to get all the background information you need. Everything's neatly organized. Let me do USD DKK. That's 64243. Quick look at the market as well. Kind of what we expect. Bad stocks going down, good stocks going up. 642. Exchange rate. What are my YouTubers saying? I don't care about a buyout rumor. I don't know what that is. I do know Value Line. I used to use it a long time ago, yeah. Welcome to Baggyville. You guys know Nellyville? No, you can't send me an email with some questions. Why would I answer your questions? What kind of questions? What type of questions? I answer your questions. What are you, FBI? Welcome to Welcome to Baggyville, where all Robinhood traders get 500,000. Sons get margin calls as soon as they open their account. 1 year, get one margin call. 2 years, get your account closed. 3 years, get pattern day trading. Nobody living with high returns. Everyone's baggying. Air Force Ones, yeah. $500,000 margin call. Bank on the phone. Better pay up. Jamie calling now. Wants his money now. Welcome to Baggyville. That was a great album though. I got these backwards. Why do I suck at this? I thought I was good at this. Use it or lose it. 3588 times 6.425. 1052 times 6.425. 1052. I'm terrible at this. Maybe easier to go one by one. Okay. 𝗠𝗏𝗏𝗠𝗏𝗏𝗠𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 I'm going to show you how I think about this. How would you look at Novo? Well, I think you have to look at Lilly closer to think about Novo. Remember Shkreli's golden rule of the drug business. Patients do not switch. Okay? It's very important that you understand that. Doctors hate switching their patients. If something's working, they keep it on. Something's not working. Oftentimes the patient gets lost to follow up. Doesn't go to the doctor for a while. It's continuity of care is actually one of the biggest causes of death out there. Sadly, affected my family. You know, you have to keep getting good health care, especially as you get older. And a lot of times there's inertia and you just kind of wants to go to the doctor. You know, I feel fine. That kind of thing is really can be deadly. Sadly. All right, so Trulicity. Okay, let me do a couple more. This is fun. Okay. So this is
drug pharmacy dude.
Martin
What's his
Shkreli?
name? Shkreli.
Okay, so this is again 𝗏𝗏, Danish 𝗏𝗏. All right, so the class has been amazing. Class growth, but most of that growth is coming from the Lilly products, right? So Lilly's been growing much faster than the class. Novo, obviously the opposite. And it's especially bifurcated. Like when this was happening, everyone on the street was fine, right? Because, all right, well, Lilly's growing faster than Novo, but they're both growing pretty fast, 30s. And then really changed the last quarter or two. That's why Novo tanked, right? The class is still growing, but all the growth is going to Lilly. All the new patients are going to Lilly, which is fine. I don't know that that's that bad because ultimately, you know, that means Novo's, I mean, no, it's not what Novo wants, but I don't know that, you know, you're going to have patient churning. So if I had to forecast, I don't know, I feel like they probably will start even declining. Let's see what's priced in the stock. That's the most important question. What are we paying for here? I don't know what consensus is, but I'll put these numbers in. Yeah, so even the class growth is starting to moderate, and I don't know what a third entrant would really do here. And we're obviously going to get kind of third and fourth entrants. I mean, usually these types of entrants will increase growth, but, you know, it's hard to find too many doctors and patients that haven't heard of these drugs. It's pretty well known. Although you might have said that before too, and obviously they found a way. Let me see here. That's not right. Okay, so we're going to have insulin drop 5% a year. We're going to have Victoza drop 20% a year. Okay, here's where the numbers have to change. We're going to have Rybelsus drop 5% a year. We're going to have Ozempic drop 5% a year, which could actually be too generous, which is crazy. We'll have Wegovy do the same. Roll out. Okay. All right, so in this model where there is a new GLP that comes out, well, let's not be too generous with the new GLP either. We're being way too generous. Let's assume this thing doesn't do that well. Okay. As it's, you know, basically as has started. And they can't do anything about it. They just atrophy and atrophy and atrophy. I don't know that there's any value here unless you want to assume the pipeline's going to come through, which I have no faith in. Do you? There's a million GLPs. I mean, they obviously know what they're doing on GLPs. No, Nix, that's not really how it works. If you're talking about a new patient that's brand new to the drug, doctors are going to use the drug that they have the most experience with, that has the best profile, that their fellow doctors are using, that the patient is asking about, that kind of stuff. And obviously in that category, you know, Lilly more or less is going to get most of the patients. For patients already on the drug, 80 to 90% of them are just going to stay on that drug. Eventually they may return to the new patient pool, but you know, that's another story. Some of them will switch because they've heard it's better, but most people just stay on the drug that's working for them. Payers will control some of this as well, obviously. You know, if you're on formulary and all that, you can, Ozempic's going to be a little cheaper and whatnot, but in terms of, Shkreli is a monster. Everybody's got a GLP pill. Lilly, Novo, everybody. It's not that hard to make one. Just getting docs to use it, getting approval, getting a good label, getting good formulary access. There's a lot that goes into making a drug sort of sell. So in any event, yeah, it feels like Novo is not, unless you can get really clear vision on like 𝗥𝗙𝗎 or some other drug selling really, really well, which, you know, you got to do a really deep dive into this stuff. Now, the other thing here is that what if Ozempic doesn't go generic? You know, I have this sort of soft generic concept in here, but let's say it doesn't go generic, then, you know, the stock's more fairly valued. And then again, what if, you know, you get a more of a monster of a drug? There's a lot of sort of decision trees here. I guess I can make them for you. But yeah, it's hard to see it ever be a good stock. They sort of became a victim of their own success. So I guess one way to look at it, it's just a bunch of things here. So sema generics, you sort of have, you know, kind of a big impact or a small impact. But obviously semaglutide is going to be generic at some point. Then you sort of have, I'll do that a little easier next time. Then you have sort of pipeline, either good or bad. And these things are fairly independent events, right? So you kind of have to value it 4 times. There's 4 different possible outcomes here. And basically what I found is if you have a small impact and good, small generic impact and a really good new drug, you can get 36% upside. But that would require a lot of going in your direction that just might not. If you get sort of a hard generic, it's never going to be that hard, but like somewhat nasty generic profile, but you still get the new drug. You know, that's somewhere between flat to 27%, I would say. And then if the new drug doesn't look so great and you got the hard, is that hard generics? Yes. This is that. And then let's see, the final combination is that, which is, you know, plus 1%. So, you know, I mean, this is kind of the situation. You basically need the pipeline to come in big, and it feels like there's a lot of competition there. It's going to be really hard to do that great on the pipeline. And you got to study the Ozempic generic situation, but you have to study the GLP market really, really carefully. What do you guys think? I got to take a break. I'll see you guys shortly.